getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Is the brake on your new pedal set not meeting your expectations? If so, let D-Nut Stuff transform your braking experience. D-Nut Stuff has brake mods for Thrustmaster TLCMs, Husingveld Sprints, Mosa SRPs, Fanatec CSL Elite V1 and V2s, SimJack Pros, and UT sets. We are always working on adding new pedal sets and more, so check back often. Does your feet hurt after a session of sim racing? Are you tired of the distraction from sore heels? If so, D-Nut Stuff has the solution for you. Our heel pads add support and comfort for your feet, so those long races are no longer painful. We can make a heel pad for pretty much any pedal set and even add your custom logo. So get one today. You won't regret it.
Greetings, race fans, and welcome back to the American Muscle Series on Slow Motion Broadcasting. JR Gregory here with you on the call alongside Andre Grandbouche and tonight's producer, Joshua Wilkie. And as this brand new season rolls on, week 3 takes us to Canadian Tire MoSport Park. CTMP opened in 1961 in Ontario, Canada, past host to Can-Am, Trans Am, the Formula One Canadian Grand Prix, and MotoGP. Current host to IMSA, NASCAR, and Trans Am. Current config 2.5 miles, 4 clicks, 10 corners, and the lap record, notably, not set by one of those 70s Formula One cars, but by an Audi R10 driven by Marco Werner, who put down a 105.823 back in 2008. So, Andre, MoSport definitely has some commonalities with last week's track, Brands Hatch, including elevation changes, blind apexes, and diabolical camber in a couple of spots, but also some major differences, including pretty high terminal velocity on some of these fast sections. So what are you expecting out of these V8 monsters tonight?
I'm expecting these guys to need a little bit of patience. This is a very fast and flowy track. Not a lot of heavy braking zones. You notice a lot of these corners, wide radius, like you said. You got some banking and camber that kind of keep these guys on track. So passing opportunity is going to come at a premium tonight. You're going to have to wait for the right opportunity. And if I know one thing about these guys, they don't really like to wait. They like to be up front. But this section right here, as we ride on board, this will be a big passing opportunity. Downhill, heavy right-hander. That slight incline at the bottom gives you a ton of grip. You can take that corner a lot faster than you think you can. So you're going to see some drivers dive in there, pick up some positions, and a lot of drafting. Look at this straightaway, JR. This is going to be a little bit of a slipstream central. And either way, it's going to be fun for us, but maybe a little bit frustrating behind the wheel.
Yeah, too right. And I'll tell you what else could happen on those late dives into Moss Corner, and that is a yard sale. So if you want some Ford Performance body panels, that would be a good place to spectate this one, because there's going to be some cars coming together as we see that 218 of Andy Bell navigating that 5A and 5B Moss Corner, heading onto that Mario Andretti straightaway. And I'll tell you, my favorite part of any race here at MoSport is contested entries into turn 8. It does not take a lot to gain position right here. Nobody wants to back out. It is certainly doable to go all the way through here side by side, and can be a test of nerves, particularly for the driver on the left side of the track. Right here, you touch that grass, things can go south in a huge hurry. But as qualifying winds down here, let's go ahead and look at our season points. Remember, we have 3 categories of drivers out here, and we will start with your pro standings. I believe not seeing anything right now, but I can tell you it is Parrish in P1, Barrios and Matt Malone in P3 in pro. In the intermediate class, that is the challengers. It's Thompson from Weaver from Gazenda is your podium, and in the AM class is Sacchetti from Brooks from Olson. 1, 2, and 3, and we'll see if we can get a better look at that a little bit later, fighting the graphics just a bit. But as qualifying winds down, it is Kemp from Fench from Taylor Ballant there in the pro class 1, 2, and 3. Then in the challenger class, it's Cone from Hosey from Gabaldon in 1, 2, and 3. And in the AM class, that's Andy Bell from Andy Kosick from Joe Sicchetti. And notably, I kind of like to look at my 1 second bracket, Andre, on this qualifying sheet that I'm looking at. 21 cars are all within 1 second out here at MoSport. So this is a track a lot of people have a lot of laps on. The times are very, very tight, and we're in for some great racing tonight.
Yeah, that's one of the fun things about going to the track. These guys know. I mean, obviously going to a unique track on the schedule, which we tend to do at least once a year, is always fun. But when you go to a track these guys are familiar with, you get some really close racing. We do have the points finally working. We got that figured out on the back end. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the Pro Division points. And there they are. You were absolutely correct. Kevin Parrish, P1. Barrios going to be P2. Matt Malone currently sitting 3rd in points. And that is going to be that for the pros. Moving on to challenger, Matt Thompson, top of the podium. He's got Freddie Weaver and Matthew Gazenda in good company, although Thompson quite a ways ahead, quite a point advantage. And finally, On the amateur side of things, if the overlay decides to take some Ritalin and calm down, Joe Sacchetti is leading the way. Scott Brooks P2 and Colin Olson in third. So that is your point situation. Qualifying has concluded, and I'll tell you, JR, we are not far away from watching these Mustangs dive it down into a very sweeping turn one. For once, these guys have a little bit of mercy, not a super tight first corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Although it is can be a handful going through there side by side. The inside car going to have to make the choice whether to kind of cuddle up and smooch over that curb there at the end of the pit wall. These Mustangs pretty good at curbs, so I imagine the inside cars are going to be running on that tonight. We will take a look at that as the race unfolds, but it's Kemp next to Fench in row 1, then Ballant next to Barrios in row 2, then Schnackel will line up next to Labano, Swayer next to Bailing, Fernandez next to Matt Malone, Mark Cohn next to Mark Wolf will get you to P12.
Behind P12, David Moore, Charlie Hosey, just getting through this quickly, Daniel Gabalden, Jay Bass, Freddie Weaver, Matt Thompson, Andy Bell, Aaron Bray, going to be P20. And you got Brandon Smith, Levi Powell, Mark Boyce, and Brian Kennedy, P24.
All right, they'll take us to Cossack next to Sacchetti, Santinelli next to Nickham, Andres next to Brandon Carl, David Blair next to Scott Brooks, Colin Olson next to Tom Wentz, let's call it. And then it's Matthew Kazunda next to Dan Ott, Besnard William next to Brennan, and Eschman next to Keck in the rear. And we are underway. That is Kemp there, your pole sitter on the inside. He will have the inside line into turn 1, and will Ballant be able to follow him through here and get a quick and cheap one off of David Fench. Fench hanging on so far, and cars pretty well behaved here, going through there mostly side by side, mostly single file rather. I see a couple side by side, but clean start so far. No flying grass, no flying dirt. And here we go into one of the most difficult corners right here, that Clayton corner, off camber, the apex hidden behind that hill, and very, very tough in any car that you drive. And frankly, these Mustang drivers making it look easy here on cold tires in lap 1. Great start out of this field.
Yeah, that was about as good of a start as you could ask for a field this size. Neil Kemp making it look easier than the rest, though. About half a second lead already. Diving in, a little bit of contact there. One car up over the curb, got all 4 tires into the air. I believe it was the 197. The 250 perhaps, as he is going down the running order. So we will try to figure out who exactly was involved there. But up front, battle for second place. David Fench going to be side by side with Taylor Ballant. And Taylor, he's a tough driver to race. He is very aggressive. He's a clean driver, but he is aggressive. He's not afraid to put you in an uncomfortable situation. And he's holding them to this side by side. This is the exact part of the track you were talking about, JR. You can go through side by side. They're going to manage it, but it looks like the advantage goes to Ballant just before this right-hander put him in P2.
Yeah, Ballant had been all over Fench right off the start, and that kind of looked inevitable that he was going to be able to push that Mustang through. And we'll go back to that start. I think off of Moss Corner, that may have been Cossack who got the bad end of that one. He is way down in the timing tower, and now going into the pits, may have picked up some damage. Very easy to overshoot that and find your way all the way in the wall there through Moss Corner. So Cossack's race going from bad to worse. That'll drop into P39, having lost 14 positions, and we'll see how long he is going to have to stay in the pits. But right now, that is Ballant's view back to David Fench. Kemp starting to pull away a little bit. He stretched that interval out to a second, but Ballant, look at that train behind him. That's Fench, Schnackel, Barrios, Labano, and Ballant washing out a little wide there. Easy come, easy go, and Fench stuffs it back through.
Yeah, that was quite the move to take that position back. All this battling is going to allow Kemp to drive off into the sunset a little bit. 1.5 second lead as they stand, but I would not count Ballant out yet. I think that battle is going to continue for some time. Meanwhile, Jeff Schnackel just kind of watching it transpire out of his windshield. A little bit of company from behind, current P2 in points. Behind him, Jose Barrios is just kind of, I would say he's riding, but he's not. He's got a lot of pressure from Mr. Labano, the Canadian here at a Canadian track, looking to do the home crowd proud. Up inside the top 10 and running on pace to maybe work his way up inside the top 5 if he can make one more pass. But so far, we have single filed out. Been a very clean start to the race, save for one incident where they are using those curves. You mentioned you got to be careful with these curves on this track. It can get pretty squirrely, but as we ride on board with Labano, this is going to be a good shot down this off-camber corner, one of the toughest sections of the track. If you're not paying attention, got to get it woed up into the heavy right-hander. Labano dives it in deep, closes in quite a bit, got a really good corner entry. Might suffer a bit on exit, but now don't look too far. Fabian Zweier actually reeling him in as well. He closed in about 5 car lengths while we were riding on board. So everybody kind of closing in, using that slipstream a little bit to good effect. And as we run, I do want to mention Mark Cohn currently leading the Challenger division in P10. The next driver behind him in that division is Charlie Hosey, P12. And if you want to find the amateur division leader, look back to P23. Andy Bell in the 218 machine is leading that division, as he is still in this single file train, as is everybody else. But yeah, the Challenger, the Pro, they're kind of mixing it up, but you just got this one amateur in a wall of challengers, kind of maybe feeling a little bit out of his depth, but showing good speed.
Yeah, absolutely. And a tip of the hat for me to Andy Bell in that 218 car. That is my current iRacing number and my real life number on my Porsche back in the day when I was young enough to show up at the track and work a long and difficult race weekend. But we're kind of in the phase right now. This is week 3, and it seems like these drivers kind of like to get into a rhythm, let the first little part of the race go by, preserving their position, preserving their tires, and they'll light the wick a little bit later. So right now, pretty much nose to tail racing. If you're not familiar with our timing software, check out those intervals over on the left-hand side of your screen. That amber color means those intervals are less than 1/2 of a second. The yellow is between 1/2 a second and a second. And you can see there our entire timing tower, with the exception of the gap between Nickham and Sacchetti, painted in color. So very, very tight racing so far, 5 minutes in. And as I said, everyone's kind of getting in the groove, burning off some fuel, letting their tires get comfortable, and saving their stuff for later on. And I should mention, this is a scheduled pit stop race, but it is set up very, very close in terms of fuel load. And a little bird on Discord told me that we may see a driver, maybe more than one driver, try a no stopper here. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. This pit entry, not super bad to get in and out of here. You don't lose a lot of time diving into the pit. So I think I have an idea who that's going to be. I'll keep an eye on him for you, and I kind of let you know how that strategy pans out. And here is a little challenge. That is Malone. And, we've seen Malone not really go crazy in qualifying, but likes to work his way through the field, and that is already underway. That move will put Malone up into P12, although that's a loss of 2. Looks like he might have lost a couple off the start and is fighting to get those back.
At this point, I think Mr. Malone just likes to pass people. I think he's doing this on purpose at this point. But, you mentioned the fuel saving. I can't think of a better track for fuel saving. You got that long Andretti straightaway. You got a couple long straightaways. If you get behind somebody, you tuck in the slipstream, you can ride about 3/4 throttle, not really lose any time, save yourself some fuel. And then you got the slower parts of the track where you can kind of keep it in the higher gear. Lots of opportunities to save fuel if that's the strategy you're going to go with. And that could be interesting. I mean, in a race like this where we seem to be gridlocked single file, sometimes the way you win this race isn't on the track, but it's in the pits or with your strategy, so to speak, not going to the pits. And so that'll be interesting. I'm curious to see if you're right. If we see somebody go all the way, it'll be quite fun to watch. But Chuck Labano, still P6, unable to get around to Jose Barrios just yet. We were kind of following along with him. Some side-by-side action with Freddie Weaver in that 119. Mark Royce in that orange Mustang. Again, through these S's. Side by side, up on the curb, a little bit of contact sideways, but he's going to save it. Hold on to her, Mark, and he does. What a battle that is, all the way through the grass. 4-wheel slide, doing some lawn care. This is some phenomenal action, JR.
Yeah, and I told you we're going to see some contested entries into Turn 8, and there was a little taste of it right there. And, just really quickly back to fuel strategy or strategery, as some like to call it. Passing seems to be at a premium here. Haven't seen a lot of moves getting done, and that seems to kind of invite the undercut. So in addition to people saving and trying to avoid that pit stop, if I was in a pack of cars like this and had more pace than the cars around me, I might consider diving in early and getting some clean air, trying to get some passing done in the pits, see if an undercut would work out here. But you're absolutely right about lift and coast. There are a couple areas on this track with a long downhill leading into a corner that really, really invites the lift and coast. So we will keep an eye on those fuel savers. One person I heard was car 38. That's Michael Brennan, currently up 5, running in P33 in the AM division. We'll keep an eye on him and see how that goes for him. Or actually, I take that back. He's a challenger. No, he's a pro. I take that back again. He is a pro, running all the hell the way back there in P33. So I hope this strategy works for him.
Yeah, he's in one of the divisions. But, the drivers that are making passes are probably the drivers that have D-Nut Stuff accessories, which, with that amazing segue, I do want to give a shout out to league-sponsored D-Nut Stuff. You've got the rig, the screens, and the passion, but when you're diving into the corkscrew at Laguna Seca, do your pedals feel like a world-class GT3 car or a toy? It's time to upgrade your immersion with D-Nut Stuff. We specialize in high-performance sim racing mods designed to give you that trail-breaking precision and throttle control you've been missing. From our legendary DNX and HVD pedal kits to custom spacers and clutch mods, we build gear for racers who demand more than stock. Whether you're a casual Sunday driver or a daily iRacing grinder, our kits for Fanatec, Simpson, and Huskenfeld pedals are engineered to help you find those extra tenths of a second. Stop settling for good enough and start hitting your marks with total confidence. D-Nut Stuff sim racing gear, serious mods for serious racers. Visit dnutstuff.com and dial in your rig today.
Yeah, they have got some great stuff. I got my eyes on that heel pad myself to take a little pressure off of my ancient joints while I'm driving in Enduro. But during that ad read, we saw Bray going way off in the grass there. Bray turning from a pony into a donkey with a loud bray, and bam! And I'll tell you what, there's some good avoidance by the cars behind him, but that Mustang is jacked up and sitting in the pits right now, taking repairs. He's 40 seconds stationary so far, and will he be able to even come back? And Andre, I think you talked about those curbs. You can use them to widen out that turn one particularly. You can use them on the entry and on the exit, but you flirt with them a little bit too much, you are going to get slapped. And we saw Bray taking it in the face right there.
That we did. We got some takers down pit road. Dan Odd, or as Corey called him, Dahano Toot, is going to take, I believe, a drive-through perhaps, or I'm not sure if this is a penalty or if he's just taking his pit stop very early in this event, but he is going to come to a stop in his stall. We'll see if the jack stands go up. I do not believe they did. Looking back towards the front of the field, it was a walk-off lead for Neil Kemp. It was almost up to 2 seconds at one point, JR, but that lead has dissipated. It's gone with the wind. David Finch and Taylor Ballant have reeled him right back in within 0.3 of a second. Out of pit road, here comes Ed Sancinelli as well as Dan Ott. So I believe those were intended pit stops. I don't think there was any penalties doled out. I could be wrong. As you do see on the ticker, Aaron Bray still with the meatball in his pit stall, trying to get that thing fixed up if he can. But either way, lots going on here, only 11 minutes in.
Yeah, it's looking to me like maybe some people are trying to undercut, like I suggested. Powell, Sancinelli, Ott, Nickum, Gazenda, Wendt, and Kosick all stopping and sitting stationary from between 9 seconds and in the case of Kosick about 16. I think he probably maybe have overfueled a little bit there, but most of those guys 9 or 10 seconds. So that's about the size of the fuel splash here, I'm guessing. So a couple people trying the undercut here, going to try to run in clean air and see what they can get out of that. We'll certainly be keen to see how that works out for them. And we'll see a couple more in the pits, and we'll stay here, Josh, just for a second. I'm a little curious about tires and no movement there. These Mustangs go up with a floor jack, one side at a time, so it is costly in terms of time. And here at MoSport, if I thought about changing anything, I would probably just change the lefts, but did not see it there. And it looks like these drivers are going to push these tires all the way through the 40 minutes.
Here in AMS, we have seen some very interesting tire strategy, JR. Last year, I believe it was, or last season, one of the drivers, we saw the jack stand go up, and I asked him, how did the car feel with the fresh right sides? And he said, it wasn't fresh right sides, it was a fresh right rear. He took one single tire, which I didn't even know you could do. But would not be surprised to see a little bit of strategy here. I mean, MoSport is a lot of right-handers, so, you know, maybe take some left side tires. I don't know. The strategy could get wild.
Yeah, and I have definitely done that here in a GT3 car, taking lefts only. But of course, the benefit of a GT3 car is you can fuel and tire at the same time. Tire changes very fast. Can't do it with these cars. It is old school. You slide the jack under it, jack it up, and take off those 5 lug nuts. So not even a center single lug on these things. So it is very costly indeed, and you have got to want those tires to give up the time it takes to put them on. But as I said, it looks like we've got I don't know, about a sixth of the field, I'm going to just throw that random fraction out there, have taken a pit stop and going for the undercut here. The rest of the field still out there on their initial fuel order, and it's Kemp from Fench, from Ballant in Pro, then it's Cone from Hosey, from Gabaldon there in the Challenger class, and Sacchetti from Bell, from Carl in the AM class. And look at Andy Bell all over Sacchetti, by the way. That gap less than 1/10 right now, as those two dicing for the second step, or for the lead actually, in AM. And there it goes, Sacchetti camera shy, and there goes Andy Bell. Oh my goodness. And that will put Carl into P2 as Sacchetti continues to fall. Is Brooks going to have an opportunity to get by him as well? And you know, that is the second time. You know, the best car in the best of circumstances, it can be very challenging to judge that breaking point downhill into the Moss 5A and 5B. Very easy to overcook that entry and wash out right there. And boy, you really saw it right there. Oh.
Yeah, great example. Is way off the track was Sacchetti, and having a hard time getting back on. He just took his time. Everybody kind of going behind a procession. Don't want to get a unsafe re-entry. Don't want to get yourself an extra penalty on top of the time you're already losing. So smart play there. He handled it about as well as you can handle it. Meanwhile, let's check in on Super Dave Moore. I haven't talked about Dave a lot tonight, but having a good run up there in P12. A little bit of a challenge from behind Charlie Hosey in P12, but yeah, Dave Moore, he's been getting more consistent, I think, throughout the seasons. He's been getting more and more camera time, getting closer and closer to the front, so fun driver to watch develop. Back up front, got a little bit of lap traffic for our leaders. Neil Kemp closing in on some traffic, is some blinkage issues for the leader. It looks like right ahead of Dave Fench in P2. That's more than a minor blink there, JR. That's a magic trick. That's some Hogwarts stuff. And contact between Ballant and Fench. There's just so much to dissect here. A lot going on between these three cars.
Yeah, we saw our timing tower look like a couple of change of positions there, and Kemp definitely headed for the Quidditch court right now, flashing in and out of existence from one reality to the next. And if you're Fench, you hate to see that when you're lining somebody up for a pass. Now you see him, now you don't. But looks like Kemp's connection has stabilized right now. It's Kemp from Fench, from Ballant, and all three of those cars covered, gosh, by about 9/10 of a second. And we've seen this week after week, the front runners hanging together, applying pressure to one another, and really putting on a good race. And, you know, there's good racing, Andre, throughout this field from top to bottom.
There always is. I know that, you know, it's good racing when every week Josh is beating himself up after the race saying, man, I didn't get everything. I mean, who could? I don't think Fox Sports 1 with all their equipment and all their crew members could get everything that happens. And he's just one guy. So there's just a lot in this field. Great racing, respectful racing, and everybody just so close in pace. Like we said at the top of the broadcast, you come to a track like this where everybody knows this place, everybody is familiar with the layout, and it just kind of naturally bunches them up. So a ton of fun to watch. And this battle back here, I mean, this has been 17, almost 18 minutes of consistent battling between Barrios, Andrew Bailing, and by the way, Labano moving up past both of those drivers at one point or another. He was P6, now P4 at the home track. So great battling between third and seventh. And also, going back to the challenger leader, Mark Cohn, he picked one up as well. He went from P10 to P9, but don't look now, Josh, that or JR, that P9 might go away. You do have the pass. It's like way off the track goes Barrios, a blink from the car ahead, and it's going to be a double overtake, bounce, and ping pong back and forth behind him. Scary situation to be in, but hey, you can benefit from it. Take what you can get. But as I was saying, Matt Malone closing in on the bumper of Mark Cohn, so that P9 may be at risk as he gets closer and closer to that number 116. It'll be a good battle to watch. Matt Malone just loving this traffic that he's working through.
Yeah, and Cohn finally, I don't want to jinx him here, we're only about halfway through, but Cohn looks like he may be on his way to finally putting one together. He has had the pace to run at the top of that challenger class, but has had incidents in the previous 2 weeks, and right now he is leading that challenger class. Looks like he has got about a 3 or 4 second gap to Hosey behind. So if Cohn can just keep it frosty here, not only can he pull a top 10 out of this, he can pull his first podium. And despite his very rapid pace, he's not even in the top 3 on the season after struggling with incidents in the previous 2 weeks. And, gosh, you know what this racing action does for me, among other things? It makes me hungry, and I want to talk a little bit about one of our league sponsors, Chiba Hut. And look, folks, we have all been there. You're staring at a menu of sad, cold corporate sandwiches and thinking, there's got to be something better than this. And at Chiba Hut, we've been flipping the bird to the status quo since 1998. We're not just making sandwiches, we are curing the munchies with the dankest toasted subs on the planet. From our signature White Widow to the Cali Mist, every sub is homegrown, toasted to perfection, and served up at a joint where you can actually relax and you need to kill that cotton mouth. We've got local craft beers on tap, plenty of Kool-Aid to keep you hydrated. Whether you're stopping in or flying it to your door, we've got exactly what you need to stay stoked. Chiba Hut toasted subs. Swing by our shop in your area or order online. Chiba Hut, toasted since '98.
I could go for a sub. Definitely. There's none in my area, but I did look at their menu when they took on sponsoring the league, and their menu does look phenomenal. And I know that probably more than a few drivers in this league are going to try out their food. We got a whole channel in the league Discord dedicated to food and taking pictures of it, because apparently we are millennial white women in AMS, and I would not be surprised if a picture of a Chiba Hut sub shows up before too long. But while we were focusing on that, kind of just been following along with Mark Royce, who had a bit of trouble earlier there. I believe he's already made his pit stop as well, P32, so that number 144 thus far. But not a lot changing other than that black flag that Mark Royce needs to come in and serve. Not sure what that is for. Maybe an off track, maybe just a cumulative penalty. But either way, we've kind of settled in halfway through this race. How are we feeling so far, JR?
Yeah, looking good, and I'm a little puzzled by Royce. This track isn't one of those where you rack up a lot of incidents in my experience. I can only think that Royce may have gotten cut the track and gotten a slowdown that he didn't take care of in time. As we see, that is Weaver taking those left-hand tires. That's the JR strategy for MoSport. We'll keep an eye on Weaver and see if he can translate that into lap times. His fast lap previously a 1:31.4, so not bad. He's about 0.6 off of Kemp, your current leader. So far we have seen one car take those left side tires. Classic move here at MoSport. There goes another one. I'm not sure if that's Royce or the car behind him. Might be Schnackle taking left-hand tires, but we'll keep an eye on those lap times for you, see how that works out. Tires definitely a thing in these Mustangs, and MoSport very, very hard on those lefts. It is only 40 minutes, but they are loaded up, Andre.
Yes, they are. A lot of weight on those tires, and I could see them gaining some time. These Mustangs, actually, I was looking at the lap records for different divisions, and I couldn't find anything for a FR 500. But the closest lap time I could find to what we're running is a Mazda MX-5. Just a little bit of fun fact there. The record for a Mazda is a 132. We're running about 130s in qual pace, dropping about a second or two over a tire run. So very similar pace there. When you got lap times that long, tire wear is king. If you could just get 1 second or half a second back per lap, you could make up all that time you spent on pit road and then some. But this battle right here, we've been kind of keeping an eye on, getting back to. That is Matt Malone with Mark Cohn and Jay Bass, if I could speak the English language, as they remain side by or in front of each other. And I gotta say, I'm a little surprised that Malone's not making up more pace here. Mark Cohn doing a great job keeping him at bay, running his pace, and just kind of keeping the status quo here, not cracking under pressure at all, showing really good speed.
Yeah, and is that who is that on the left lane? And pro tip here, kids, I've heard this said many times. I haven't really seen proof of it, but they say that back straight, the right-hand side is less steep than the left-hand side. If you stay to the left, you have to gain a little bit more elevation, worth a couple miles an hour. So racing here, you want to stay on the right, as you see most of the drivers doing. And speaking of Cohn, there he goes. He's considering now a good time for a pit stop, and that will or no, that wasn't Cohn. I'm sorry, that is Malone. And Malone had enough of the traffic that he was in, and little damage up front there too. It looks like that hood is a little loose on that Malone mobile.
That may explain why he was not making up time all of a sudden, because I mean, he was moving through the field. I mean, just making passes left and right, and then once he got up to Mark Cohn, it seemed to have stalled out. So maybe a little bit of a bump draft gone wrong, gave himself some aero damage, and I can imagine the aero being pretty important at a track like MoSport. So maybe a few seconds of damage repair in the pits. Taking a look at an SMB replay. This is Chuck Labano, Jose Barrios side by side. Barrios wanted to take this position back, maybe in the exact same part of the track that he lost it, but not quite able to close the deal. Jay Bass ahead of these guys, doing some lawn care, getting through the grass just slightly, but I'm sorry, that was Andrew Balin. The blue and pink cars, I always get them backwards. I almost never call them the correct one. But back up front, these three, I mean, they're gone, JR. Look at that. That is a 7, almost 8-second gap to P4. These three have just walked away with it, and they have not settled it amongst themselves. They've been trading back and forth. One lap, David Finch is in third. The next, he's back up to P2. Only consistent part of this is that Neil Kemp has led just about every lap of this race, and he has yet to come down pit road. I think all these guys have yet to come down pit road, so definitely a close battle, but could be shaken up.
Yeah, very interesting stuff here, and you got to wonder if a little extra seat time, a little extra familiarity with CTMP is propelling these three, Kemp, Finch, and Ballant. None of them in the season top 3, but they are absolutely driving off in dominant fashion. The gaudy 7-second gap, as you pointed out, between Ballant and Bailing there. So they have absolutely dropped P4 and are in a league of their own. About 14 minutes remaining here. You got to think that fuel stops are coming soon, as you see Labano pulling up from his splash and dash. And I'll take a look. Labano in a little long, stationary for 21 seconds, and it makes me wonder if he might have taken a tire or two. That's about 10 seconds longer than the other stoppers so far. So I guess he could have overfueled or could have tried some new tires on for size, but he comes out down 18 positions in P24, has a little bit of air in front of him, unless these cars get by him right here. And if he was trying to get in clean air, that just went right out the window for Labano.
Well, you know, this could be a blessing in disguise, though, because with as powerful as the draft is on iRacing, and as much as it matters, I almost wonder if they're not in a Daytona, Talladega situation where if you do have open air in front of you, if you're on your own, you're actually at a bit of a lap time disadvantage. You're not getting the speed down the straightaways that you otherwise would in a pack. He kind of cycled out with a small group of cars there, which might be frustrating, but it may ultimately save him some time if they can work together, do a little bit of slipstreaming, sort of like these guys have been doing. I don't know if you'd really consider it working together willingly, but for now, they've tolerated each other. We'll see. We're 28 minutes in. I don't know exactly when the alliance, if you want to call it that, is going to go away, but methinks within the last 5 minutes, things are going to get a little bit heated.
Yeah, and looking at my pit counter here, I would say more than half of the cars in at this point. The fast pit stops are around 10 or 11 seconds. So, and a big crash there in the background. Another huge hit coming out of turn 1, and we'll try to show you what happened to Ron Wolf there. But obviously that Mustang not configured in the way that it left the Ford factory. And we'll take a look, a little smooch on that inside curb, a little bit too much at the outside curb, a tank slapper, a good avoid by the black car behind, and Wolf has binned it. And that is going to be a flatbed back to the pits for him, unless he tries to limp it around. But I'm imagining the coolant and a variety of other fluids pouring out of that FR500S.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. We'll go on board for the SMB replay into that concrete wall. And again, I got to reiterate, on iRacing, what the wall is made out of does matter, just like real life. Tire barriers, you might get a little bit of forgiveness. Safer barriers, a little bit of forgiveness. Concrete, well, you get, as you said, a lot of fluids coming out of your car that I think the car may need to operate. So don't think he's going to be getting that one back out on track early end of the night. But meantime, Fabian Dwyer making his way down pit road, making his way out of pit road. In fact, Brandon Smith in the 197 getting that car serviced, as well as another taker there behind him. That is Brian Kennedy in the 111. Pretty much identical on the exit. Going to cycle out together, as looks like Ron Wolf, who was in that incident, is going to maybe limp it back to pit road. Didn't take a tow. Yeah, there he is. He's limping it. It's battle scarred, but it's moving.
Yeah, and the expression on that emoji on his hood there is probably about how he's feeling after kissing that concrete barrier at a pretty good clip. And we'll see how much repairs he decides to take. Repairs very, very costly out here. But as you said, this is not a track where you want aero problems. And having driven a car with a busted hood latch on the track before, it's like driving with a parachute. You'd be amazed how much velocity you lose down the stretch. And taking a look at Matt Thompson right now, he's got Jose Gabaldon and Labano in tow there, and here comes Bailing. And where is he pitting out of? That's Bailing pitting out of P6. He's got Fernandez and David Moore with him. So those are the that is 6, 7, and 8 coming in for their fuel stop. Those are the highest runners right now to stop for fuel. And that leaves Kemp, Fench, Ballant, Barrios, and Mark Cohn, 1 through 5 on track, are about the only runners left. There's a handful mixed through the field, but among our top runners, our top 6 still have not stopped. And it looks like we got about 8 minutes remaining here. Yeah, we're taking a look at Bailing here, and pretty easy to overcook the entry on that pits, and it looked like he had a black flag, but that didn't look excessive to me. It looks like he got it loaded up, but we get limited information here out of the iRacing system. There's Dwyer getting a little bit of repair there. You saw his hood decrinkle itself. Looks like he might have picked up a tire as well.
He definitely might have. And it is interesting, the leaders are the drivers going the longest on this stint. I mean, we talked about how close it was going to be. You're going to want to save fuel, and even then, no guarantee you're going to make it. And these guys are probably saving less fuel than anybody else on the track. I mean, they've been running the quickest pace time and time again. So there is one of the top 6 down pit road, Jose Barrios in the 27. Going to get down into the pit stall, get that car serviced. I think it's going to be fuel only, no jack stand underneath that Mustang, and away he will go. Mark Cohn provisionally in P4. I don't know if he's made his stop yet or not, but so far a good night for him. Still waiting on those 3 leaders who, like I said, JR, using more fuel than anybody else, blazing fast lap times. How far can they go?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's inconceivable that they're going to be able to make it out of this without a stop. But so far, our top four, Kemp, Fench, Ballant, and Cohn, have not come in. And it is Kemp from Fench from Ballant. And oh, by the way, I mentioned the possibility of Michael Brennan trying to stretch his one tank of fuel out for 40 minutes. And if he can do it, he's currently running in P13 for plus 25. 25 positions gained. So if he can sputter that thing across the line, that strategy may have worked out well for him. Notably, Sacchetti hasn't been in. He's up 14. Brandon Carl up 19. And Dave Blair up 21. It looks like a couple people are coming in now. And are those the leaders? That's Kemp and Fench, and Ballant still out. So so far, Ballant and Cohn, the only two of our top cars that we've been watching that have not come in for fuel. We'll see what Kemp and Fench do. Oh, looks like that 99 car. That's Kemp missed his pit stall, and we'll see what that costs him. And yeah, you're seeing it right there. And Fench is going to drive away from Kemp, and those little mistakes in the pits are so costly. And boy, you saw it right there.
Now, I think Dave Fench may not be out of the woods yet. He may have a little bit of damage. I'm pretty sure I saw him turn a little bit too sharp into the stall and hit that concrete wall on his way in. So we'll see how that works out. But we do have more takers down pit road. So far, no Taylor Ballant, but some drivers a little bit further back in those car service. There is Colin Olson in the 254. Joe Sacchetti working his way out. Again, only 4.5 minutes left in this event, so or 5.5 minutes left in this event. So you don't want to make any mistakes now, as we saw with the former leader Neil Kemp. Not a lot of time to make up for it if you do make mistakes, but in the meantime, there is Andy Bell, current amateur leader, P14 overall, and he's got a ways to go before any, nope, not the amateur leader, I'm sorry, Brandon Carl is ahead of him in P11. The red kind of blended in with the red there, and also I'm just a little bit stupid, so I kind of missed that, but here we go. Taylor Ballant, the final domino to fall for the leaders. Here's the big question, JR. Where does he cycle out? What is the gap going to be?
Boy, I'll tell you, Fench and Kemp both had problems on that pit stop. Ballant could be the recipient of others' bad luck. He's coming out. There's the overhead shot. Here comes Fench, and here comes Kemp, and Ballant is going to pull out well ahead of them here. So Ballant making it happen in the pits, and that's one of the reasons we love these pit stop races, and that will put Ballant up one position into P2. Cohn still out there running, holding the lead for right now with about 4.5 minutes left. And if Cohn somehow miraculously holds on, has he been able to work a fuel save driving in that pack for all this time? It would be a miracle. Cohn up 10 right now. And holding the lead, and of course that's the overall lead and the lead in his class. The next closest challenger 36 seconds behind.
Yeah, that is, oh boy, Jose Barrios and I believe Matt Malone gonna rub fenders through the corner. Malone's gonna hold that inside line. He's got, I think, the preferred exit here. He will get clear. Barrios with good momentum on exit gets right back to the bumper, then back to the quarter panel. It is not done. And then if you're Jay Bass, you get to decide, who am I going to push? Whose draft am I going to take? It was Barrios. Now it's going to be Matt Malone swerving back and forth. What a battle this is. This is for a top 5 position. I do want to mention, as we do have Mark Cohn down pit road, this will hand the lead, presumably, back over to Taylor Ballant. One thing I want to mention is Ballant's pit stop was shorter than both of the other leaders, so fuel may be a concern. We'll keep an eye on it. In the meantime, this battle continuing. Malone now on the outside, going to be the inside in the next corner. Gets clear again, but look at that speed on exit. That is Barrios' strength. JR, he can get real good runs on exit, sacrificing that entry for the run down the straightaway. It has helped him a lot so far, but finally Malone with just a second to breathe. Is it going to last?
Yeah, Barrios is going to take a peek down there, down the inside of turn one, flirting with disaster. Why? Because Barrios has massive amount of pace out here, but he also has a lot more offs than some of the people who run up front, and you are seeing why. Barrios not afraid to roll the dice, and it bit him right there. It looks like Best and Malone both squeaked through there. Barrios side by side with Malone around going up that hill between turn one and turn two. Couldn't get a good drive out of turn two, and it cost him a couple of positions there, but he is still right there. He's going to have the draft coming down the back straight, and we're coming down to crunch time here. This could be the penultimate lap right here. I'm guessing that Blount will receive the white flag this time around, and Blount, meanwhile, by the way, enjoying about a 7th, 10th gap over Fench, and Fench enjoying a 3-second gap over Neil Kemp. So that pit sequence really mixed things up front.
Yes, it does. Neil Kemp reeling him in. Gotta wonder if Blount isn't saving just a little bit of fuel, as unfortunately, here comes Kemp down pit road again. Oh my goodness. What should have been a surefire win led about 90% of this race. All falls apart here at the end with a black flag. Oh man, the frustration's got to be immense.
Wow, was that a black flag for Kemp? He must have, wonder if he got dinged for speeding on pit lane, and my goodness, the wheels falling off for Kemp, unbelievable. And look at Mark Cohn. That is going to put him in P3. I told you that Cohn had pace. I told you he's been trying to put together a race, and it looks like he has finally done it. He is going to podium with the next Challenger car about 12 seconds behind him. Cohn absolutely dominant in his class. It is Blount from French, from Cohn, and I got to think we're on the white flag lap right now as we look at Kemp still motionless in the pits. He's 45 seconds motionless right now. He may have just gotten up out of his chair, walked to the fridge because he is still sitting. Looks like he's rolling now though, but dropped all the way to P30. And oh my gosh, you got to feel for Neil Kemp. Really had something going here at MoSport, and all right out the window.
And coming through the right-hander to the line, I believe that is actually the white flag. No, that is the checkered flag we are seeing. Taylor Blount going to take the win here at MoSport. What a drive it was, and trying to defend his podium through the final corner. Will Matt Malone get a run? He's getting attacked from both sides, left and right, but barely. The Cone, Mark Cone, the watchman, holds on to that podium position. What a drive that was. Had to be absolutely terrified looking in that mirror. And here comes some more challengers across the line as well. Charlie Hosey, Levi Powell, Matt Thompson. I have to look back a little bit further for the first amateur driver, but boy, that was a good race for the race win. But that battle for third, that was something special.
Yeah, that was epic. Great drive by Cohn. I'm just going to go ahead and give him the drive of the day. He's had some frustration. He definitely had the pace and had some bad luck, had some incidents in the previous races. And I bet that P3 overall for that Challenger winner has taken a lot of the sting out of his early struggles. And my goodness, as the rest of the field streams through. Great racing out here. This Mustang very well suited for MoSport, and really put on a great show. And if you have been with us here for the American Muscle Series, you have been growing accustomed to the great shows that these cars put on, so you'll definitely want to stick with us. We have got some great tracks upcoming on the schedule, including next week's stop, the Red Bull Ring. But as the final cars come across, we'll get those final results for you up here in one moment. But what a race out here.
You can never predict what is going to happen in these AMS races. I would never have predicted the Neil Kemp penalty. Never would have predicted that battle between Cohn and Matt Malone and Bailing as well. Just topsy-turvy race, lots of crazy things going on, and boy, oh boy. I love this track. MoSport is a great facility, and I think this car really suits it. I mean, it's hard to pass sometimes, and you know, it's got its quirks, but I think it was a really fun combo at the end of the day.
And by the way, fuel save watch. I told you car 38 was going to try to make it happen without stopping. He succeeded. And that is going to put him up 25 positions. He's going to finish in P13 in his grand experiment. So one car tried to fuel save enough to get through this 40-minute race, and he pulled it out. That is Michael Brennan in P13. But so we're watching Mark Cohn blow the tires off of the back of his Mustang in celebration. I know he's feeling good. And Joshua, we got those results ready? And right, meow, there they are. That's Taylor Ballant from David Finch, and woo, a little extracurriculars there. Mark Cohn will round out your podium while taking P1 in the Challenger class. Then it's Malone, Bast, Barrios, David Moore, David Fernandez, Matt Thompson will be in P2 for the Challengers, and Hosey will round out your top 10 P3 in the Challenger class.
And outside of the top 10, Levi Powell, Chuck Labano. It looked like he was going to get a top 5 at one point, fell a little bit further back through the grid, comes home P12. Michael Brennan going to be 13th, Daniel Gabaldon P14. Freddie Weaver is going to be 15, Dehan O2 going to wind up P16. 17th goes to Ed Sancinelli, and Brandon Smith is going to take P18 for himself. Running out the top 20, it is going to be Dave Blair and Brian Kennedy.
All right, then it's going to be Bailing, Sacchetti, Andres, Carl, and Mike Nickham will get you to P25. Then Matthew Gazinda, Scott Brooks, and Tom Wendt in P28. Colin Olson, P29. Neil Kemp rounding up the top 30.
And rest of the field, shotgun on the back. Andy Bell, P31. Jeff Bernard going to be P32. Merle Eschman at 33rd. Andy Gossick going to be 34th. P35 and 36 going to go to Fabian Zweier and Ron Wolf, respectively. Aaron That Face Bray going to be 8 laps down. P37. Mark Royce with an incident-riddled night going to be P38. And the final two drivers, we're not going to forget them, Jeff Schnackle and Phil Keck.
And Schnackle got a couple cars way down involved in an early incident, Royce as well. So let's go ahead and take a peek outside, and it looks like we have got our race winner waiting to talk to us. Taylor, welcome to the commentary booth, and congratulations on a fantastic drive. I don't know if you had a spotter helping you tonight or if you were just soloing it there in the rig, but it was the pit stops that put you in P1. Both Finch and who was the Kemp had problems on the pit stop. Your pit stop perfect, and that put you up 2 positions from your qualifying into P1. So did you know what was going on in terms of your competitors struggling to get out of the pits?
I didn't know that they struggled, but I knew basically because based on the pace they were putting down, I knew they had to have been driving just about flat out. And in the testing, after they upped the fuel limit by 1 gallon, I tested to see if a no stop was possible. And so I got a pretty good idea what you could and couldn't do with the fuel around here. But I knew basically right off the bat, my plan was if I didn't qualify on pole, I was going to stay behind, save fuel, and only take 1 gallon. So that's the plan I executed, and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, it worked like a charm. Your stationary time, 8.8 seconds. And as I said, Finch had some problems in the pit, kind of kissed the pit wall on the way in, and Kemp missed his pit stall. So that broke up that little train and kind of handed it right to you. So excellent job, and just goes to show you the details, the little details of preparation that you just described there, getting ready for this one, make a huge difference. Pro tip, kids, practice your pit stops, pay attention to what the hell's going on, and the race might just come to you as it came to Taylor tonight. So again, fantastic result. And as we wrap up, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to today?
Yeah, huge thanks to AMS in general. So glad that Ed and Mike took this over, and just glad this is keeping going. This has been an awesome league. This is my 3rd year here, and I've had a blast every time. So it's a huge shout out to them, and also a huge shout out to both David and Neil. They ran a heck of a race tonight. They if we had one more lap, I'm pretty sure David Finch would have taken the win away from me. So huge props to him. For running at the top this week.
All right, fantastic. Well, thanks for coming by and sharing your thoughts, Taylor, and we'll see you next week at the Red Bull Ring.
Thank you.
All right, cheers. All right, and Andre, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my driver of the race, P3 overall, P1 in class, Mark Cohn.
Mr. Cohn, you got a copy?
Yes, loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, buddy. That was, like JR said, easily the drive of the night. Gained a lot of positions from where you qualified and just absolutely had a phenomenal night all night long. Executed the strategy just the way you needed to. That 116 was flying, Mark, and I know you've been gaining a lot of speed lately. You've been getting fast, but tonight it just seemed like you turned on the afterburners. What was it? Is this just a track that kind of clicks with you, or just kind of feeling it?
Oh gosh, it was back in 2019 where I raced here in the Lionheart Retro Series, and somehow, some way, I finished second place, which I thought was my best ever road race. This might just beat it. I never thought I'd be on the podium in this series or accomplish anything. And now I have people saying I should be in the pro class. I do not believe it at all. And on top of that, I wanted so bad to be like Biff and bring this 116 to victory lane, and we did it. Oh my God.
Absolutely. You brought it to victory lane and the overall podium, which is just, again, phenomenal accomplishment there. You'll love to see it. Now, one thing I got to ask you about before we get to your thanks and everything, that last corner, you had challenge from both sides, drivers on both quarter panels trying to get you at the line, but you were able to hold them off. What were you thinking in that moment?
Oh my God, why am I ahead of Matt Malone and Jay Best? They're so much better than me. There's no way I could hold them off, is there? I was trying so hard because I knew a podium was on the line, but I did not want to do anything this stupid and risk the Challenger win. So I guess it worked out.
Worked out indeed. Well, again, congratulations on a phenomenal night. Before we let you go, Mark, is there any shout outs you'd like to make?
Yes, first off, this paint scheme is in tribute to Greg Biffle, his family, pilots, his friend, everyone that was on this flight. I would dedicate this win to them. I just wanted to do this paint scheme this season as a tribute to them and be like Biff, and here we are. Sim Gaming Expo, be there. It's in Schaumburg, right next to Chicago, September 18th through 20th, I believe. It's going to be amazing. Don't miss it. Sim Lab, Nizumi Studios, DeWars Candies and Fine Shoes, Frito Sport, Matt Thompson especially. Thank you for all the setups. Him, Ed, Mike, everyone that does the league. I'm sure I'm missing some guys, but Tom at TW3 Liveries, who made this fantastic paint scheme. All you guys at Slow Motion Broadcasting. I'm pretty emotional right now. This is amazing. Thank you all so much.
Thank you for your time, Mark. We're going to let you go celebrate, and we'll be talking again soon.
Thank you, guys.
And that was Mark Cohn feeling it there. And anybody who thinks that this ain't real racing, just listen to that interview. Mark Cohn filled with joy after pulling off that epic drive today. And that brings us to Joe Cicchetti, our amateur winner. Great drive, Joe. And what'd you think of MoSport tonight? It looked like a pretty good race from where I was sitting.
Yeah, hey guys, that was pretty sweet. It was just I had a couple of rough areas, but it ended up working out. It was a close one. I got lucky with the pits, and yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, great stuff. And looking at the schedule, looks like we're heading to Austria next week. A pretty technical track with some pretty difficult low-speed areas that you got to accelerate out of. So what are your thoughts about taking this FR500S for a spin at Red Bull Ring?
I like Red Bull. I haven't driven this car there yet, so we'll see. Hopefully do well like we've been doing.
All right, well, that is awesome. And as congratulations again on that P1. And as we wrap up, is there anyone you'd like to thank or give a shout out to today?
I'll thank my buddy Matt, who I know is watching, and the guys at Frito Sport, and you guys, of course. Have a good night, guys.
Right.
Thanks.
All right, you as well. Thank you, Joe. All right, and that is all we have time for today. But folks, as you're sitting here watching us on YouTube, I want you to go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification icon so that you don't miss any of the action. Tomorrow night, you can join me and Dylan Hundy Coyle as we cover Formula 3 Sim Racers Group at Barcelona. Then Saturday, Weekend Warrior Formula Vs at Summit Point. Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors will be at Oschersleben on Sunday. And 1 week from tonight, join Andre and I for the next round of AMS from Austria. I am J.R. Gregory on behalf of myself, my partner, Dirt Grandbouche, our producer, Joshua Wilkie, and everyone here at SMB. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the day wherever you are, and we'll see you back here real soon.